Hey guys, Tbull here. Today we're checking out the game in the Hipper. Here's this guy, Riegerwald, one of the Warhammer commanders. AP focused. If you don't have him, I used Von Mueller. I've also used the Azura Lane girl. She had a similar build to Von Mueller, but I had Ingenious, which I like. We don't have Ingenious on this build, but we do have a solid AP focus with Dimitri Dewey and Yamamoto. Inspiration, Sea of Fortune. Check this out. We got one battleship, cruisers, and then destroyers. This is kind of a pretty good layout in terms of her lineup for the Hipper to deal with. And we're going to be pretty aggressive here. Now, destroyers, we're going to show you right off the bat why the Hipper and these German cruisers are so dangerous for destroyers. And I'm thinking, okay, I can cozy up to that little island with the church on it or whatever that big building is and kind of block the axis of those red destroyers to even get into A. The plan would be a little bit better if our destroyer had the controller in his hand, but of course he's not ready to go. Said he was ready, not ready. He'll join us sooner or later. But the other destroyers kind of going wide around the islands there. I'm just kind of hoping they would get on to A, capture the base quickly. I'll prevent any destroyers from coming in that gap and take some shots at some cruisers as well. AP focus, we're going to see how damaging the AP can be. Battleships, yes, broadside. Cruisers, you're going to be wanting to hit those broadsides at the waterline. You can rip some citadel shots and tear those ships to shreds. And destroyers, I think we shoot this first destroyer with a AP round, maybe, if I remember correctly. But you can get decent damage. I usually switch over to the HE, though. Try and get some modules knocked, get those engines knocked out and stuff like that. So, be moving in here, detected. Now we got a Cleveland, and we had another, seemed like some sort of light cruiser raining some shells on us from the right. So this is why we want to get up tight to that island there, just to prevent these guys from shooting us. We are remaining spotted here, and we are keeping an eye on that. We got smoke deployed there, so we do have a destroyer. Go ahead and pop these sonar just to make sure we're not getting surprised by any torpedoes. But we want to push in. Now I think it's 4 kilometers on this German sonar. On the Hipper sonar, it might be somewhere in that neighborhood, but wide-ranging for a sonar, definitely. And once you get a destroyer in your clutches, you can really keep them there. Now, if you spec the Hipper for speed, a lot of these destroyers won't even be able to outrun you. Like I remember playing in Ayudachi one time against a speed spec Hipper who was basically outrunning me. And there you can see we got him for a third of his health there with AP. So don't, some people think that AP is worthless against destroyers. It's actually probably more consistent in terms of damage usually, but the benefits of the modules and the engines getting knocked by the HE is usually the tiebreaker. Unfortunately, we we got hit by the Torbs, so it looked like they were stacked widespreads almost. I'm not going to hit the sound though because he hit us with them, and then here we're having more difficulty. I was trying to get in the gap between the first set of 2 and the second set of 2, but as they got closer, I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to try and split the difference between these ones, and fail to do so. So that Yudachi, even though we kind of aggressively rushed him and took him out, got a little bit of revenge. Okay, we're gonna be pinging our destroyers. Yo, we're putting in all this work for you guys. That was all so you can get on the cap. Sure, there's a Cleveland, or I think it's a Cleveland back there. There's a radar behind that, but when I had a bunch of health, that's when I was feeling willing to kind of take some punches for those destroyers and make sure that they're not getting rushed by the radar. So anyways, we do have a couple heals left, which is important because we're going to need some more HP after our unfortunate maneuvering and encounters with enemy torpedoes. But we still, we got the cap kind of pre-secured now. We just need one of these guys to get on the cap, and if they're not willing to, then I'm like, okay, well, I'll just get on it. I'll push right against the island that cruiser was. We'll try and protect ourselves that way. But we need this base here. This is why we're playing the game. We're trying to capture these bases. Nice lead in terms of ships, but we want to make sure we're converting that into a permanent and sustainable lead in the background. Okay, so I don't know what that guy is doing off west there. He's gonna checking out the map, I guess. Hopefully he's having fun, but there's caps here that need taken. I'd say it'd be better play for him to be moving toward the cap, but here's the shores. Another threat to these guys. And if they're wary of the radars and they don't want to move forward because of the radars, I understand that. It's technically a right play, but I would at least be trying to capture the base and then see what happens. There's a Cleveland. Apparently he got flushed out of there. Decided to leave once the Yudachi got taken out. He probably decided, okay, there's no destroyers to support, so there's nothing for me to do over there. We're going to try and pound them here, though. We get a decent shot there. A couple citadels, or one citadel, it looks like. We're going to try and take him out as quickly as possible. We are capturing the base. The destroyer is the primary agent for that, though. We're just here to up our own score and get the base captured a little bit quicker if possible and get those points generated in the background. Cleveland gets out of there with about half his health. That's fine. We moved him out of the line. And now we're deciding, well, do we move directly into B, going straight east, or do we push forward here? And I'm looking what's going on. The B line, basically we have our battleship and another cruiser. We got a cruiser into C. So I'm thinking if I go north here, well, we should have some inherent crossfires built in, and that'd be pretty powerful. We are regaining our health slowly. We've used our heals now, and we're pushing back towards 20, being down from, 5,000 or whatever it was briefly. So we're kind of back in the fight, but now we need to get in a position to be dealing some damage, and that's what we're looking for with this AP, or, the Hipper, using the AP, trying to find those crossfire shots. That's when we're going to get the Wicked Rippers and quickly turn the tide against these guys. So here we got a mines. We did manage to get C, which is a good thing. Now we got the 2 caps to 1. The lead in the background you can see creeping up quite a bit. Okay, so red's not actually generating any points, so they're actually in danger in that situation of getting Mercy ruled out. If we sink a couple more ships, they could be shoved down into the 0 score range, which would end the game for them. They did get one of our ships, so that's going to keep them in the fight. And this is why we always stress going for caps. Okay, you could be saying, oh, you're up 3-4 ships. Don't worry about the caps, just press into them. But red's not going to stop fighting, right? And they're going to continue to try and sink your ships. If they get a couple quickly, well, if you haven't been capitalizing in the background, getting that lead going, then all of a sudden the game is roughly tied again. Okay, so we don't want that. We want to be getting the caps, making sure that, okay, let's say they do turn the tide and they delete most, if not all, of our ships except for us. Well, if we still got that lead in the background, that we can, as knowledgeable players, sail off, guarantee that lead is maintained and win on the score. Cleveland goes down there, and we get him with some nasty AP shots there. Iowa, now he's pressing in here. I want to prevent him from moving towards the caps, of course, because now that we got all 3 caps secured, the longer that persists, the easier the win is going to be. So if he decides, okay, I'm going to finally start trying to exert some control over the caps, great for him. But if we can press him out of there, that'll keep him wary of moving forward. Mines, though, was backing up here, and obviously broadside cruiser, more valuable in terms of a target. And we get him with a couple decent whacks. First one, no citadels. Second one got 1 citadel, but less hits. And he's pretty low here, so it looks like he's about to go down. And we were trying to shoot him through the gap there, but he's taken out. So, back to the Iowa. Now, if he's broadside, look on the map there, he's not perfectly broadside. He's probably about 45 degrees, but broadside-ish. And that's why we're throwing Dmitry Dewey on there. Whatever his name is, the generic Russian guy that improves the penetration angles on the AP. That's so we can limit their ability to angle. Unfortunately for us, saw there with some torps in that this guy's going to be kind of trying to dodge, so he's turning away from us. And then once that happens, okay, we get decent shots there as well. But at this angle, the AP effectiveness is going to drop way off, so we switch over to HE. German HE, low damage, enhanced penetration though, so consistent damage. And watch these shots here. You're usually going to be seeing numbers pop up from the shells actually doing raw damage, but you have a low fire starting chance, and the damage is relatively low, so it's kind of a consistent but relatively ineffective shell. That's why I try and use the AP as much as possible, which is the highest damage AP for German cruisers in the game. And whenever we can see a situation where the AP will be effective, that's the shell we're going to be wanting to use. But Iowa, okay, he sees us here, he shoots. Luckily, we got our cover. We're just parked by this island, back right up here. And it's nice. There's even a little ridge that we can hit here and bounce right off and get back into position really quickly. So it's a nifty little spot that we got here to bomb on this guy. But if sinking the Iowa, that'd be great. Yeah, damaging them, good, and we want all that stuff. But strategically what we're doing, we're pushing him back away from the caps, right? The further he is from the cap, the less control he has over the cap. And positioning in this game, in domination mode, you should be viewing it as which caps can I pressure, exert influence over from this position. Okay, like right now we can basically attack A and B very rapidly, and we can still partially control C by shooting into it. The Iowa, the further he gets into the corner, the less control he's got into these caps, which is what we want. And our destroyer is looking like he is going to go into C there and reclaim that cap and seal the game up. So at this point in time, we don't really care about a shores that's sailing off getting chased around by a destroyer. He's not affecting the game. There is one destroyer on the loose, though. We don't know where he is. So I'm thinking, okay, well, we got to go back to B. Again, it's the only way that red can win this game. One of the first steps is to begin flipping these caps. They're going to have to kill all the ships while doing it, but they needed to stop the caps from accruing points to keep the game going long enough to have enough time to kill everyone, right? So I'm thinking, okay, well, we got the sonar. We're in the Hipper. We're a nightmare fuel for destroyers. Let's go ahead and just park the ship on one of the most strategically important objectives for him to deal with, and that will effectively seal up the game. So that's the positioning there. Briefly, there's about another minute and a half or so in this game left until it's over. We'll talk about the rune, which I think is one of 2 or 3 confirmed tier 8s that we know for sure is going to be coming next update. So that one looks more like a kiting type of a cruiser. A lot of the, like a Nuremberg. Think of a higher tier Nuremberg. A lot of the guns in the rear of the ship. So you can basically tell which way the ships should be facing by design, by where the majority of the firepower is. If it's in the back, then it's designed to be turned away from the enemy and then kited off, meaning sailing away from them when under fire. Okay, so we can expect that. I'm looking forward to it, though. I think the German cruiser line as a whole, there's good variety between them, but by and large, it's an effective line. Königsberg, of course, one of the best ships in the game. Nuremberg, not my all-time favorite, but it does have its fans, and when used correctly, it can pump out the damage. York, definitely getting better over time. Hipper, very solid cruiser. You know, you can have a lot of fun with the Hipper, and it's quite effective. And now the Rune, and eventually the Hindenburg, I think will be the legendary tier, assuming it follows the same kind of layout as the PC. So that, from what I understand, the Hindenburg is like the super Rune, fast-firing Rune. So a lot to look forward to there, but I'm probably going to be jumping into the German cruiser line right off the bat, assuming I got the XP and the credits ready to go. So I'm going to keep playing the Hipper. I'm planning on getting all my ships up to hopefully 250,000, at least 300,000 if I got extra time. Here we're lining up the final shot on the shores. Looks like a kill shot to me, but the Summers hits him with the torp there. So anyway, that's a look at the Hipper for you guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. New to the channel, consider subscribing. Lots of World of Warships coming for you all the time. Questions, comments, leave them below. Love to hear from you guys, and we'll see y'all later. Peace.